new episode of Living a Richer Life, life-changing talk radio. I'm your co-host, Dr. Charlotte Grant Cobb.
And I'm Earl Cobb, the other half of the Living a Richer Life host team. I, too, would like to say welcome to all of you out there to our very first live broadcast of life-changing talk radio. Let me start by reminding you that we will broadcast live from our studio here at blogtalkradio.com/RicherLife every Thursday night, starting February 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific time. The format of the show will be interview, then talk. Each week throughout the year, we will interview published authors or public personalities who have insightful messages. I call them messages that are full of nuggets, that will help enhance personal health, wealth, hope, and prosperity. Now, we carefully will select all of our personalities, and we make sure that they have messages that are enlightening, encouraging, entertaining, and could be timely and life-changing for some of our listeners. After each interview, we will open up the phone and allow the members of our audience to join our conversation.
However, tonight's special broadcast has been designed to introduce you to our executive producer, Mr. Lou Phillips. Also, we'll share a little bit about ourselves and what you can expect every week from Living a Richer Life. We've decided that the best way to do this is to introduce Lou and hand the host microphone over to him. I want to share with our listeners a little bit about Lou first. Lou Phillips is the president of Ethno Media Group, Inc. The Ethno Media Group is based in the metropolitan Washington, D.C. area. The company describes itself as one that focuses on aggregating positive content for production and distribution via the Internet, traditional television, and satellite. As the executive producers of Living a Richer Life, Lou and his team are responsible for ensuring that each show feeds into the show's vision. Now, the show's vision is to become a positive, interactive environment where like-minded people can come on a weekly basis to listen and to share and to learn. Lou is also our dear friend who has earned our respect over the years. He's also earned the respect of many others, as demonstrated by his long list of professional and community-minded accomplishments. So, without further ado, I will hand the mic over to tonight's guest host, Mr. Lou Phillips.
Well, thank you very much, Charlotte, and I really appreciate those kind words that you've spoken on my behalf. Don't know if I can live up to them, but I thank you anyway. It's an honor always to be able to collaborate with you and Earl, and especially on this effort of extending your Living a Richer Life vision. I know how much it all means to you guys because I've witnessed its birth and its subsequent growth, and so I'm just really thrilled to be a part of this effort. And so, in terms of full disclosure, I need to share with the audience that I've known and worked with both of you guys for many years, as you've already said. Earl and I were executives at two major companies, he with Motorola and me with American Airlines, and we had similar roles. Back then, we both traveled around the country and the world, and we frequently partnered in support of corporate-sponsored community events. And Charlotte, part of our relationship, I still remember the wonderful celebration we had when you completed your PhD and opened your first General Nutrition Center franchise in Charlotte, North Carolina, back, I think it was in the late 1990s. So for the benefit of our listening audience, I guess what I'm saying is that we've got a bit of history between us. Now, as we all know, launching anything is challenging. But launching a nationally broadcasted weekly talk show or show of any kind is a major effort. And so understanding and realizing how much you guys have put into living a richer life and your publishing efforts, why did you decide to take on this kind of effort at this stage in your life?
Well, Lou, let me take the first shot at that. To me, the answer to that question is that we believe that living a richer life, life-changing talk radio, is the type of thing that someone should be doing, and the type of thing that we believe we are prepared to do at this stage of our life. Now let me share a little background to help explain that. During the time that Charlotte and I worked our way into this business and finally published our own first book in, I think it was 2011, we also worked our way through some rather significant changes in other aspects of our life. However, during this same period, I began to better understand something about life that most of us are certainly aware of, but sometimes we're challenged to put in what I call proper perspective. And that is, to me, life can only be lived in stages. If I recall that the first stage of life, for most of us, okay, is about learning who we are, learning how to deal with others, learning how to fit into society, learning how to earn a living. Then all of a sudden we look up and we're in the second stage, ready or not. And that stage is all about earning, heads down, 8 to 5, airplane to airplane, hotel to hotel, earning a living, earning a reputation, earning respect of others. Then in the final stages of life, we're finding out, if we're fortunate, many of us find ourselves in a position where our education and our earnings and our level of maturity has moved us into a stage that I call a stage of comfortable reflection. That is a stage where we have good health, we have some wealth, and more importantly, we have the ability to put things now in its proper perspective, such as not sweating the small stuff. And from this stage, you're able to make some steadfast decisions regarding how you can and how you're willing to live the rest of your life. Now, Charlotte and I both decided a few years ago that we would spend the rest of our lives as individuals and as a couple taking advantage of and not fearing any opportunities to help others that come our way. Living a Richer Life at Life-Changing Talk Radio is all about helping others. And we have approached this opportunity in a manner consistent with how we believe we've lived our lives. That is, first by giving and persevering, and then by receiving.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Charlotte, do you have something to say about that?
Yes, I do, Lou. I was just going to concur with Earl by giving and receiving. And we mean giving all that we have to others, our knowledge, our skills, our passions, even our resources when appropriate, and then being willing to receive and openly accept what others can and have to give us in return. And what we have found is that when like-minded people find themselves in an honest, trusting, and mutually beneficial environment, good and positive things really do happen for everyone that's involved. So we've actually learned over the years to not just apply, but sort of maintain and preserve our mantra that we have had over the years, which is we will shape thoughts and change lives for the better in all areas of our lives, personally and professionally. I guess, Lou, I think we are what we think, and whether it's just between Earl and me or among a group of strangers, we have actually experienced over and over again that when we first respect each other's thoughts and views, and then the time to understand them from a perspective that's different from mine or our own, we can actually do a better job of rationalizing and shaping our own thoughts and live a less stressful and more inclusive and productive life. So, taking on the effort associated with launching a talk show like Living a Richer Life, it has been much more of a technical challenge than a challenge of vision. I have to admit that if Earl didn't have an engineering and technology background, taking on this challenge, especially in today's digital broadcast technology, may have caused us to think a little bit harder about it. But the idea of placing ourselves in a position to help create an interactive environment where like-minded people can come on a weekly basis to listen and share and learn, it's really very consistent with the stage of life we find ourselves in today.
That's beautiful. I see the lines have lit up, so we're going to pause for a second for a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You are listening to Living a Richer Life, life-changing talk radio on blogtalkradio.com/RicherLife, where like-minded people come to listen, share, and learn.
Wonderful. Welcome back. And Earl and Charlotte, I see we've got a caller. It looks like they're calling from the Chicago metro area.
I know we do have a caller listening. I don't think they have a question, though. So our listeners who are on and listening to us, as you may have heard, when you do call in, if you do have a question at any time during the broadcast, all you have to do is just to press 1, and it'll put you into the queue. So please feel free to join the conversation at any time.
Wonderful.
And also we have the chat line open, Shar, as well, so they can use the chat line to talk to us or talk to each other.
Wonderful.
Well, that's great instructions. So let's get into the next question I have on my list for you is how would you describe the average person who will be listening to Living a Richer Life?
Lou, I think I'd love to answer that question because Earl and I spent some time and envisioned and characterized our listeners. If it's okay, I'd like to read that to the audience.
Oh, please, go right ahead.
Okay. What we've done is in this characterization, we think frequent listeners to Living a Richer Life have a higher than normal level of human consciousness, an overdose of human compassion, and a wide-ranging perspective of the global community. They all highly value their time. They wisely spend their time only with people and platforms that add value to their lives. The majority of the listeners have a robust point of view on most domestic and global topics. They're conscious of the fact that many of the topics they discuss on a daily basis have or may have a direct impact on their lives, their families, and the people they love. Generally, the topics span the social economic spectrum. However, they feel that each topic has the potential of making a tangible impact on their own personal health, wealth, hope, and prosperity. Their views are based on a mix of facts, reality, research, beliefs, faith, logic, and compassion for mankind. And by no means are they hesitant to share their views with others in a civil manner. They value quality verbal discourse and highly respect those who work hard at crafting concise and compelling messages. They, too, are good communicators, and they're even better listeners, Lou.
Well, that's a wonderful description, and I suspect we've got someone who has a very penetrating question waiting, and it appears to be calling in, Earl, from the Denver area. So why don't we go and have them come online?
Yeah,
Caller, are you there?
They're in the screen room now, Lou, so we should have them on in just a second.
Very good. In the meantime, Earl, is there anything that you'd like to share and say about the weekly programming format?
Yeah, this has sort of been a vision for a number of years, and like most of us know, in today's world of social media, where there's just a tremendous opportunity to reach out and to network. We felt that in order to make this type of activity, this program, successful, is that we had to make sure that we prepared ourselves to be able to, first of all, have some high quality content. And I mean, over the past 4 years, being a trade book publisher and interacting in the publishing industry all across the country, and with some super authors and writers, we just feel our bag is just full of good content. Okay, people that are thoughtful and have spent years getting their message down and speaking their message across the world, actually, and to be able to bring them together and to be able to solicit from our audience the types of topics that they want to see, and to be dependable. We will be here every Thursday night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Mountain Time.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that's important for the listening audience to know, because of the lineup of really interesting guests that you've got scheduled. It looks like we've got Andrew from Denver on the line, so let's get him on board. And good evening to you, Andrew.
Good evening, Lou. How are you? Enjoy the show.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And we're just so delighted that you've officially become our first caller for this evening. What is your question, Andrew?
Well, great. I was listening earlier, and I heard the gentleman talk about RicherLife and what it's about helping people. Lou, what are your thoughts on what are some of the broader, unique aspects that you think this show will bring?
Well, I think that's a very good question, and the person or the ones that ought to be answering this will be the ones that will be hosting the show going forward. So, Charlotte, Earl, why don't you respond to Andrew?
Well, I think that's also a very good question, in fact, an excellent question. I think that there's at least two things beyond the obvious that I just feel it's going to happen by having the opportunity to grow this audience and to have an audience that began to interact with each other will happen. Number one is you hear in our discussion about like-minded people. We're serious about that, because there are many places you can go, many things you can do on Thursday nights. Okay, and like most organizations that we join, whether it's a fraternity, sorority, any organization that we join, the reason we do that is because we enjoy being with the people that's a part of that organization. So number one, I think once we develop a broader exposure and grow our audience, we're going to find a lot of the people coming back every week, having the discussions, enjoying being a part of this network, if you will, and it's just going to be something else that they can add, okay, along with church on Sunday morning, along with the picnic with the family, along with that chat with the frat brother, along with that drive with someone that you enjoy. It's Thursday night, spending a half hour, 45 minutes with people that know you, okay? And then the second aspect, I think, is you're really going to enjoy the messages from our guests. I mean, I over the past 3 years, I spend quite a bit of time because not only am I a publisher, I'm also the editor, and a lot of things relative to every title that we publish. And the thing that I see, okay, it's not about the words, it's not about the paper, okay, it's about the message, and those messages come from experience, from the heart, from compassion. Okay, and I know that there's billions of people out there that have good messages that need to share. Then on the reciprocal of that, there are people out there who needs to hear those messages from this kind of perspective, from just a regular old group getting together, networking, respecting each other, having some very insightful and positive conversation.
Very nice. And Andrew, you still there?
I'm still here, yes.
Yeah, and I think as Earl was saying, the content of the show that you'll be receiving from each of the authors as well as the hosts will be the kind of thing that is helpful to anyone in preparing and guiding them toward what is the title of the show, and that is To Live a Richer Life. Mm-hmm. Charlotte, you got anything to add?
Yes, Lou, what I was thinking, too, as I was listening, and Andrew, thank you so much for sharing, it is the idea, what really drew us to the opportunity to be a part of Living a Richer Life, life-changing talk radio, is that we know that we are not the only people who want to create an interactive environment where like-minded people can come on a weekly basis to listen. And we really do want to also explore the nature of civil conversation, civil discourse with each other, respecting our diversity, respecting our different perspectives. And it's so much easier to do that when we are sharing that with published authors and public personalities who have taken the time to develop a message that they too want to share. So I'm just truly excited about the Life-Changing Talk Radio, excited to meet the other like-minded people who really want to get messages out, bring messages in, and let's live a richer life together.
Beautiful. Andrew, is there something else you might have on your mind?
Richer Life and his sponsors, the very best. I hear a genuineness in their message and what they are trying to bring and what the authors, and I think it's very relaxing to hear what authors will have to say about how their thoughts came together, and hopefully this will, listening to this radio talk show will bring a lot of people to relaxing moments in journaling and hearing what authors and this radio show talk show has to bring. And I want to wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Fantastic. Very good. Thank you so much for calling, Andrew. Now,
thank you, Lou.
Earl, as we were talking about the quality of your guests that are going to be a part of the show, and obviously their commitment to sharing their experiences that will ultimately be of great value to your listening audience, why don't you guys talk about the process you go through to select your guests?
The process that we've established does two things. One is it allows us to keep the opportunity open to any author in the world that has published either a book or a article or published on a blog, okay, to make their book, their work, make us aware of it, okay, and certainly we want to be able to get on as many authors as we possibly can that have messages that really fit into what we and you, our producers, think that our audience would enjoy, okay. The second part of the process is that we do focus on topics that are contemporary, that's up to date, this week, this month, this year, like any other American things that we concern about or the things that we hear about. So a combination of trying to find as many messages as we possibly can, and being a publisher, I know there are many out there, but also sifting through those messages and those authors and bringing them in at the right time in terms of current events and when things are happening. I think that's the combination, that's the process, if you will, that we're putting in place.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I see that we've got another caller in that is calling in from the Maryland, D.C. area, I think. Vita, are you there?
Yes, this is Veda, Lou. Good to hear your voice and also to be a part of the inaugural broadcast with Earl and Charlotte. I've been admirers of all of you for many years and have learned many lessons in an unofficial format, and it's really good now to be able, in this new technical and digital format, to be able to share and exchange ideas as part of RicherLife. So it's great to be a part of the conversation.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. We're glad to have you, Vita. What is your question for Earl and Charlotte?
So I guess my question is a question and an observation. One is we were obviously all fond of quoting quite often, it takes a village to raise a child, and it appears that the information being distributed and disseminated from A Richer Life, both in its print platforms as well as now on the radio, kind of demonstrates that as America's growing and growing older and graying, that it's not just about raising a child, but it's about, obviously, again, having a village of like-minded people who can uplift each other and move things forward. So just maybe a comment about, from the hosts, about what kind of trends or ideas they see as America goes a little bit grayer, and how that impacts kind of the overall perspective of how we manage finances, how we look at our lives, et cetera. And then secondly, I guess, obviously I've been a long admirer of the partnership aspect of Earl and Charlotte, both as married couples as well as professionals, and certainly hope they won't be shy about entertaining and interjecting that aspect of how that adds to the overall success of leading a richer life.
Wonderful. Earl, Charlotte?
Well, you know, our definition of richer life. Good question, Beta. By the way, glad to hear you're on. I hope you and the family are doing well back there in the cold weather. I know Beta, he used to live out in Phoenix. But our definition, and it's publicized on all of our websites, is a life that's full, and that's a word that we express, full, of good decisions, of financial security, of great relationships, of loving family memories, and a feeling of completeness. In our minds, in our research and writing our book, Living a Richer Life, we felt that sort of captured it all. And yes, that includes close relationships like marriages, like the one that Charlotte and I have enjoyed for over 30 years. But it also includes good friends, And as we know, like you're talking about the graying part, as you get older, if you had your phone list there and you mark off, that list is getting shorter in terms of people you can still call, Those are the kinds of things when we think about living a richer life. It's the things that we need to keep top of mind. Earlier, if you were here earlier when Lou asked me the question about why we were taking on Living a Richer Life, Life Changing Talk Radio, and this challenge, I talked about this idea of being in this stage of life, where you begin to put things in perspective, because all of us go through it. When we're in the middle age, the prime earning age, we're jumping on airplanes. We're not thinking about how important relationships are. We know it's there, but it's not top of mind. We're not thinking about this idea of feeling complete beyond your job or the next title or being respected by your coworkers. What about being respected by your wife?
No, very good. It's very, very helpful.
That's very good. And by the way, Beta, I guess I transposed the A to E, and it's certainly a pleasure to hear your voice and to have you call in.
Thank you very much, Lou.
Indeed, indeed. Listen, we're going to have a quick break, and we'll be right back shortly. Stay with us.
Don't forget to join us during our debut show on Thursday, February 6th at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock p.m. Central, and 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time. Our special guest will be natural care coach Karen Gilroy and her new book, Nourishing the Healer Within, which reveals some interesting insights about how the human body naturally recreates and repairs itself. Only on blogtalkradio.com/RicherLife.
Beautiful. Welcome back. Earl, I guess after the question we received from Veda dealing with the partnership that you and Charlotte have, why don't we begin to set the stage for other listeners who may be preparing and thinking about that same vein? How does a listener get in the queue, first of all, to prepare to bring forth a question like that, and to also share a comment during the live broadcast, as we've just experienced with Veda?
That's a great question, Lou, and thank you very much for asking that. There is a call-in number. This is Internet radio, but we do have a guest call-in number, and that call-in number is area code 347-838-8578. And callers can call in and listen to the show without making any comments or having a question. But should they have a question, they have only to press 1. Just hit the number 1 on your phone, and you will go into a queue. Co-hosts or producers will get into a screen room with you, so you will not automatically be live. And I think that helps people feel a lot more comfortable. You'll go into a screening room. We'll chat a little bit so that we can understand your question, so that we can make sure that we're going to have a good, concise answer, and they will then be in queue. We are going to try to get to as many calls as possible, but we do have limited time on the air, so people can always then find us after the show. It will be recorded. This is a blog radio talk show, so you can comment on our blog. You can post on our Facebook. Again, that's www.blogtalkradio.com/RicherLife. You can join us in the chat room, and you can email us at info@RicherLifeLLC.com. So I know that was quite a number of ways to get involved, and but you can get involved in those variety of ways, and we will keep repeating that and also share that on our blog and comments.
That's wonderful, and it looks like we're starting to wind down. But is it Earl and Charlotte? Is there time for just a few more questions?
I think so.
Okay, well then let's continue to move forward. Is there a way to leave comments after the show has been completed? I know you just talked about your website, Facebook, but can you give a more detailed answer to that?
Yes, Lou, absolutely. You can make comments, as Charlotte said, if you go to our broadcast page, which is a blog page at www.blogtalkradio.com/RicherLife. At the bottom of the page there's a place for you to make comments, okay, just like a regular blog, back and forth. Also, we have our page tied into our Facebook page, in which we can do that. And also, you can go to our broadcast page at any time. After this broadcast, tomorrow morning, this program will be on as a podcast, which will allow you to listen in case you missed the beginning of the show, or you want to listen to a particular part. You can hear the whole show again, and at that time you can leave a message. Okay, so at any time, or you can also send us an email at our on our website, which is that email address is info at RicherLife LLC, RicherLife.com. info@RicherLife.com. Any of those ways is a way for you to get involved. And, this show is about two things. It's about good speakers and good messages, and then it's also about getting the audience engaged and beginning the discussion, not just between our guests and the audience, even between the audience members, the opportunity to really have a good, respectful dialogue.
Wonderful. Well, Earl, we've run out of time, I guess, for the show tonight, and I'm hopeful that our listening audience has been fully provided with the kind of information they'll need in order to become a regular listener. And the place that they should be concerned about going to is www.blogtalkradio.com/RicherLife. And there you can not only enjoy the great information that's going to be provided by Earl and Charlotte, but we suggest that you also share that with your friends and family. Now, we'd also like to pass on a special thanks to all of you for joining us tonight on this maiden voyage. We want to make sure that you join Earl and Charlotte every Thursday night, as you've already heard, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, and 6 o'clock on the West Coast.
You've been listening to Living a Richer Life with Earl and Dr. Charlotte Grant Cobb. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we'll look forward to having you back again the same time next Thursday.